Here I am with hopefully a quick, I've just been thinking kind of video. So I was looking at this one story, and like I've always had a problem with stories told in first person. And I've always been trying to figure out why. Now, of course, the overall reason being that most writers fail at this and they fail horrendously. There's just something about first person that I don't think that most writers understand. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to first person, like essentially first person is, you know, us being in the head of one character. So, it's sort of like you go around with just that one person and they're talking to you. So it's sort of like listening to someone's conversation. I did this, I went here. The story is told completely inside their head with their emotions, their everything. And, there's second tense as well, which is, very rarely used. And that essentially is like the author putting you in the story by using you. You did this, you went here, this happened to you. And then there's the third tense, which, most writers do and probably should use, in my opinion. And that, is using the character name, that's the he, she, you know, that kind of thing. So I was thinking, and I kind of had this epiphany, so to speak, about why I don't like first tense. And the problem that I have with people writing stories in first tense is it's too easy to fall into the telling, not showing category. So it becomes aggravating when you're just stuck with someone and they're not showing you the story. They're telling you what they're doing. I went to the store. I bought a candle. I did this. And you don't feel like you don't feel like you're part of the story. You feel like you are outside of it. And you have to think about the fact that stories are supposed to be a way for people to dive deep and sort of, interact in the world and kind of lose themselves. It's a form of escapism. And when you're reading a story told in first person and you don't feel like you get to be part of the story because the author's doing so much telling you of what's going on instead of showing you what's going on, it kind of creates this problem. And there's, to a degree, I avoid it like the plague. And it's not because I don't feel comfortable, showing and not telling. I think for me, it's sort of like, I personally don't think that most stories should be told in anything but third tense. So, you know, I guess for me, I tend to write in third tense because most of the stories I see, it's sort of like a film running through my head. And that, kind of, is me writing down sort of like that film and the actions and stuff that are going on and trying to show the audience, what's happening through storytelling. First person, I don't like it, but I will admit that there are proper times where it can be used. I remember reading one story that was told in first person, and I remember thoroughly enjoying it because, and I guess to a degree, it also becomes with the whole idea of how well do you understand your character? Because if this is the character that we are sticking with the whole time, then it goes back to, everything I've said before, where your characters you have to really know your characters. You have to really have interesting characters. There has to be a reason that people want to be involved with that character. And when you're doing it in first person, you don't get to leave that character. And like it's hard to write in first tense. And I don't want to go too long because I did say that I wanted this to be short. And this is, sort of like, I don't like first person, but I will admit that there is a story idea that I've had that always seems to work better in first person. So the only thing I can say about first person is if you are someone willing to do that, or if you see a story that way, the only thing I can say is you had better make darned sure that you spend all your time in the storytelling showing what's happening. Do not fall into the trap of constantly saying I, because once you begin that of saying I all the time, you've now fallen away from showing what's going on. You're now telling what's going on. And I think there is a book series. I'd have to look it up. But if I remember correctly, it was told in first person. And that was the thing. It was actual storytelling. It was, going through the thoughts and, being part of that thinking process because we were shown what was happening. And I know, that's kind of like the rule in writing anyway, show, don't tell. But in first person, I think that rule is, it's key. It's the main rule. Stop telling people what's happening, show what's happening. And that's really all I can say because, I don't want to keep going on about how much I dislike first person. And I know this only happened because I was reading something that went from third person to first person, and it drove me crazy because the first person was a terrible idea because, it wasn't showing, it was just all telling, and I can't abide that. I can't stand that. We're here to make good stories. So if you can't show what's happening and you can only tell what's happening, first tense probably isn't the right tense for you to use. That's all. Like, subscribe, all of that. Yeah, share, think about it, talk about it with others, write about it, whatever. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.